You know, military history is full of iconic machines, but it's also got its fair share of real head scratchers. And today, we're diving into one of the weirdest armored vehicles ever built, the Kugelpanzer.
So here it is, the only one of its kind known to exist. Right now, it just sits in a Russian museum with this super mysterious label, Exhibit number 37. I mean, come on, this thing has no official records, no combat history we can find. Its whole story is just a big, fat question mark.
And that's the big question, right? You'd be forgiven for thinking this thing rolled right out of a sci-fi movie, but nope. It's a real artifact from a very real war. So, what do we actually know about it? Okay, so its official name is the Kugelpanzer, which literally just means ball tank in German. Simple enough. But its history? Anything but. We're pretty sure who built it, but the why? That's where things get really fuzzy.
All right, if we're going to even try to crack this case, we have to start with the basics. Let's separate what we think we know from the cold, hard facts.
Okay, so here's what the historical record gives us. These are kind of our foundation stones. 1, it was made in Germany and then shipped over to Japan. 2, the general idea is that it was supposed to be a light reconnaissance vehicle. 3, Soviet troops got their hands on it in 1945. 4, the armor is, get this, only 5 millimeters thick. We'll come back to that. And 5, it was powered by a simple single-cylinder motorcycle engine, so not exactly a powerhouse. These are the clues we have to work with. Okay, sounds simple enough, right? But here's where the whole thing starts to unravel, because even some of those facts are up for debate. The real mystery kicks in the moment you start asking for the details. I mean, this is the kicker. We can't even agree on where this thing was found. And that one detail, it changes everything. Depending on which story you believe, the entire purpose of the Kugelpanzer gets turned on its head. So which one is it? Was it captured way out in Manchuria from the Japanese army? If so, that suggests it was a real piece of equipment, actually being used. Or was it just found sitting at the Kummersdorf Proving Grounds back in Germany, alongside other weird prototypes like the giant mouse tank? I mean, those two stories paint completely different pictures. One's an operational asset, the other is a failed experiment. With the paper trail going completely cold, there's only one thing left to do. We've got to turn to the physical evidence. Let's play detective. What can the machine itself tell us about what it was designed for? All right, let's really get a good look at this thing. You've got this bizarre spherical shape, that tiny little viewing slit up front, and that small stabilizing wheel out back. Every single detail here could be a clue. Clue number 1. This was built for just one person, a lone operator totally encased in this steel ball. Right away, that tells you this isn't your granddaddy's tank. And clue number 2, and this one's a big one, is the armor. A mere 5 millimeters. To put that into perspective for you, that's less than 1/4 of an inch. I mean, sure, it might stop a bit of shrapnel or maybe a pistol round if you're lucky, but any serious anti-tank rifle or even a heavy machine gun would go through it like cheese. And that right there is the central puzzle, isn't it? It's supposed to be an armored vehicle, but it offers almost no real protection in a fight. So we know one thing for sure. This was not meant for a frontline firefight. So what in the world was it for? And that question brings us to, honestly, the most fun part of this whole mystery, the theories. What was the plan here? Let's dive in and explore the possibilities. Okay. Theory number 1, this is probably the most popular one you'll hear. Was it a rolling reconnaissance post? Basically, a mobile eyeball on the battlefield for a single scout. And you know what? It kind of makes sense. For scouting, being a small target is a huge advantage. It gives the scouts some protection from small arms and shrapnel, way better than nothing. And it's got that viewing slot, perfect for watching the enemy without sticking your head out. A single operator also totally fits the profile of a lone scout. But hold on, what if we're thinking about it all wrong? What if its main job wasn't to be mobile? Theory number 2 is that it was essentially a portable pillbox, a rollable mobile bunker. Yeah, just picture it. You roll this thing into a key defensive spot and bam, you've got an instant armored foxhole. Its tiny size would make it a super difficult target to hit, offering a relatively safe haven for a soldier holding a critical position. All right, now let's get weird. Theory number 3, and this is probably the most out there idea of them all. What if the Kugelpanzer was designed to clear minefields? I know, it sounds absolutely nuts, but there's a strange kind of logic to it. It weighs 1.8 tons, which is probably heavy enough to set off most landmines of the era, and that round shape? Well, In theory, that might actually help deflect the blast away from the vehicle and the poor guy inside. Maybe.
You know, as bizarre as this thing looks, the whole ball tank concept wasn't pulled out of thin air. The French actually had these rolling shields back in World War I. And then in 1936, some inventor in Texas designed what he called a tumblewheel tank. So the Kugelpanzer is definitely part of a very strange but very real family of weird military ideas.
But even with those other concepts out there, the Kugelpanzer is still totally unique. This was a singular design from a major industrial power, built during a massive global conflict, and then it just, poof, vanished from the history books. A true historical dead end. And so we come full circle, right back where we started, just staring at this strange steel ball. It's a silent witness to a story we might never, ever fully understand. Every theory we've talked about sounds plausible, but not a single one has been proven. So what do you make of it? What's the final verdict on the Kugelpanzer? Was it just a failed experiment, a footnote in the history of weird weapons? Or was it actually a glimpse of a totally different future for armored warfare? A future that favored small, clever designs over sheer brute force. That, right there, is the enduring enigma of the ball tank.